making some serious money. So at the end of
All right, guys, welcome back to episode 17 of the Young Startup. Was that right, Eric?
That's
okay,
right.
I'll restart. That was all right. 17? Okay, cool.
Yeah, 17.
All right. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 17 of the Young Startup. Today, we are going to be interviewing a seven-figure Amazon seller, someone that has been able to scale their business through different channels as well. We'll be getting through those details today. His name is Kyle Kirshner, currently out in California of the United States, and he's been selling on Amazon for the past few years here. Kyle, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your story, because I know you got an interesting one. We'll kind of kick it off from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me on here. Yeah, my name is Kyle Kirshner. Yeah, I'm a figure seller. I have two seven-figure brands right now. But yeah, I kind of have a pretty cool, interesting story. When I was 15, I got my first job at a warehouse. And that warehouse is located in Anaheim, California. And little did I know that warehouse was doing $20 million a year on Amazon in the electronics category. They specialized in those battery cases that charge your iPhone and Samsung, and so the leader in that of the battery charging cases. They also took over a big of the Bluetooth speaker category, and I just started first working my ground up from just a normal 9-to-5 job. I first started there. They had me just receiving in pallets from overseas. They got their products from China as well. And so I would receive in pallets. They made me test about 10% of the products that came in. And I always laugh and joke with my clients now that I'm terrified of selling electronics on Amazon, because just that business alone, just with all the testing and electronics overseas and all the defects and things like that, it was just a complete nightmare. But I started just testing products and shipping pallets, doing shipping plans out to Amazon. And then, after about a year, I got into their product development team and their RMA. So all their returns, we had to test all their returns, because 50% of their returns they got, their products still worked. And so we throw them back on the shelves. We put them on eBay, put them on Walmart, all that stuff. So shit ton of testing, a lot of testing. But after getting in that, I got into their customer service that actually showed me how they generated reviews in an 8-figure company too. So that was a big thing that I kind of brought over to my side of the business as well. And then a couple years later, I got into their marketing department, and then I saw how they did all of their product launches. I saw how they got all their products to the first page of Amazon, and every keyword that they wanted to. I saw how they ran, and I got taught how to do their PPC tactics. And yeah, after 5 years with that company, I quit, started my own Amazon business, and now my warehouse is unfortunately across the street from theirs.
Damn, man, that is crazy. That is crazy. So, and I love this, and it's crazy because this happens a lot. Like, for example, there's a lot of people that in construction, like, my girlfriend's dad's a really good example of this. You work for a big company, you learn all the ropes, and then you go do your own thing. So it sounds like you did exactly that. And, there's nothing better than learning on the job. And it sounds like that was actually something that was so relevant to you. Like Brian and I, we did corporate recruitment and sales and everything like that. We did that for 4 years before we, went full-time Amazon and everything. But things that we learned in that was like the ability to communicate, the ability to sell, but also like the ability to hire, like our team of VAs that work with us and run our businesses with us. That was the one thing that we picked up that has been so transferable. But for you learned everything about Amazon. Like there's no better experience than that.
And I do owe them to this day everything, all my successes and things like that. And because I had, in the beginning of it, I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So
oh, no way.
I'm not supposed to be doing any of this, but it was a small business, a small family, and after being there for 6 years, I just had a great relationship with them. I even asked them and got to a point where they were sending me out to the CES conferences in Vegas and things like that, because I told them I was like trying to get into it myself. And they were, they're totally cool with me branching off and doing it my own. They said, as long as you don't do the same products that we're selling, then go for it. So I still to this day go see them, once a month, and I bring their whole company food and stuff like that, just because, if it wasn't for them, and if I didn't, work for them and, play everything that I learned, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Yeah,
Damn,
absolutely.
man.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely epic story. And I love how you took that experience. You're making money, making mistakes, learning on another company's dime, and you're taking it into your business. And now you're teaching it, which is awesome. It's a full circle. You're giving it back. You've been mentored, and now you're mentoring other people. So I appreciate that about you. I'd like to understand, because what it sounds like, from my understanding, you started selling in 2016, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Cool. That means you started at that job 2011, 2012, roughly.
Yeah.
What was the Amazon world like back then? Personally, I didn't even know about Amazon back when I was pretty much graduating elementary school, grade 7 in 2010. So
it was insane. Like I tell people right now, like you would have literally your customers' full name, their address, their emails. You have all of that data
Wow.
that you don't have to this day. And it's amazing because that business, we would literally send $100 checks to people's houses for them to change their negative reviews at that time.
that's insane.
What?
Yeah, crazy. And like I mean, like that's why I say like inserts are so important and like things like that are so important, because I still to this day don't think it's very cost effective to be sending out hundreds of dollars to, to one person just to change their negative experience. But yeah, and that's why I know, that that's why when people say, yeah, we don't get anybody's information because they used to send gift cards and things like that. It's like I know firsthand because we would send out $100 checks to people and things like that. So it was wild. The reviews though, the way they got reviews, I still get reviews to this day in my business, and I'm happy sharing that with you guys too, because I think it's great. But so basically what they did and what I do to this in my business as well is you have your product inserts and so on. Well, we have a separate insert where, we give everybody a warranty. So like, everybody will have like a 30-day warranty or something like that. Well, on our product inserts, we say, if you guys want to make your 30-day warranty into a 2-year warranty, call us into our customer service. So when they call in and try and generate start their 2-year warranty, we then have somebody asking, how they're liking their product so far. And if they're liking it so far, then they'll say, okay, as long as you can copy and paste that in a review, then your 2-year warranty is, it's settled. But if they're not liking it, obviously, they won't go in and ask for that. But so, it's hard to really have somebody, it's not an email we're doing this, they're calling us and asking us to start their warranty. So that's the way we're getting a lot of our reviews generated. I don't even have an in-house sales team. I just actually outsource it to a call center. And it's actually working very well at the moment, still to this day, which they were doing 10 years ago, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
Damn.
I think that's a great strategy. Because
100%. There's no paper trail. There's nothing, and you can filter through people. I'm assuming that in terms of customer service as well, if they're not happy, you're doing something to, replace the unit or trying to resolve that. Oh man, that's like customer service to the next level. I love that.
And I've seen, I don't know how many negative reviews I've seen generate into a positive review just from saying, their customer service was fantastic. So my 1-star goes to a 5-star because the second unit I got was, working fine, and I appreciate them being due diligent about getting back to me and so on and so forth.
That's epic. The one thing that clearly hasn't changed is Amazon was back then and still is a very review and social proof driven market. The fact that, changing those 1-star reviews, people won't spend $100 per negative review in order to get that to a 5-star review. But in the long run, all said and done, as much as that could be out of your pocket, it also puts a ton back in, because that one change, like for example, all of our products are like it shows as 4.5 stars. They usually ship between like a 4.3 or 4.1 to 4.3 stars, or upwards to 4.7, 4.8. But as soon as you get up to that 5 stars and what looks like a 5 stars, your sales literally like double. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have the social proof in the beginning, because if you're just launching a product and you have minimal reviews, one bad review could just plummet your sales.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm curious to know as well, like in terms on your end as well, obviously you're running 2 7-figure brands. You've built up some really good processes, and you worked for an 8-figure brand as well. in terms of quality control, this is a big topic right now because, more than ever, inspections and there's bribery that's happening in all these our factories and all this kind of stuff. What do you guys do for quality control purposes to ensure that, your customer is getting ideally the best product that they possibly can in terms of the quality? Are you guys doing anything extraordinary, or are you just going and, having a third party inspector come by and,
So I have
inspect products?
Yeah, so I have a couple processes set in place. Number one, I have my manufacturers send me pictures like crazy. Send me multiple pictures of anything I'm changing in my products, anything that I did change before that needed to be changes in now so they don't go back to the old ways. And then I also have an inspection company. And then also when I get everything sent to me, I get everything sent to my warehouse. I don't get it all sent to Amazon. And then on top of that, I have so that's two inspections right there in my perspective. And on top of that, I have an employee at my warehouse that goes through 10% of every product that we're coming in and tests it on his end. So in my case, that's three different, cycles that I have my products go through before I actually have my products on Amazon Live.
Yeah, super
Ooh,
important. Quality,
yeah.
again, that goes back to the review. Like having bad quality products is only going to leave negative reviews. So in adopting a good quality control process, and what it sounds like is you've adopted the 8-figure brand that you used to work with, the 10%, and bring it into the warehouse, which is phenomenal. We have a warehouse here, but we sit out of Canada and we sell predominantly in the United States, but we are going to be getting in the Canadian market. And financially, I mean, it still makes sense to send product here and then direct it into the United States, but it'll make a lot more sense when we're selling a lot more in Canada specifically. But that's good to hear.
I actually have one of my products in Canadian Tire right now.
No way.
Really?
Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. What was that process in terms of, and if you're willing to share, or if there's any kind of agreement in place, feel free to just let us know. But what was that process in terms of getting, because this is something that a lot of people have chatted with us about, but taking your private label products, building a good enough presence in order to actually approach those big box retailers, things along those lines. How did you approach them? How long was that process? What did that look like exactly?
So it was a long process, but the whole approaching thing, I think it's a lot about who you know, because I definitely had somebody that was in the retail space that knew I was doing well on Amazon that offered if I would entertain the fact of having a product over there, and I said yeah, absolutely. But it took me about a year from going back and forth with them, and they came to my warehouse a couple times, met them a few times. But it took a long time for me to get my products in there. It's an outdoor product that I have there right now. But yeah, it was cool, and it was kind of just a thing to test. I mean, obviously Amazon's doing a lot better, but it was a cool testing thing, and it was also cool. I went out there and I got to sell my product on the shelves, which is kind of cool for a change.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it took a long time, but it was definitely because I knew a couple, people in the space, and I didn't even go out and looking for it because I don't really know really where to start there. I've done some, big B2B orders and things like that with different companies, but not necessarily a big box retailer. But yeah, that was cool, and ours is one is still going through there, and yeah, it was pretty cool. We also were talking to Dillard's, which was another thing that we knew somebody that had a relationship with them too. That one ended up falling through because, like I said, it's a lot of back and forth. But yeah, Canadian Tire ended up going through, and that was cool.
That's epic. In regards to that Canadian Tire deal, was it like within one specific retail location, or did it go to a distribution center and they distributed to multiple locations from there?
So yeah, we went into multiple locations. I think we went to like 20 at first, and then if they said, if things are good, we go to all the other ones. But it was kind of around the same time when COVID happened, so we just did that 20 stores, and we're still in those 20 stores. But I don't know if we go to the 500 stores or whatever. But yeah, that was cool to see.
Yeah. And then other question when it comes to retail, just in terms of how the deal is structured, is it like a wholesale deal where you just sell them at wholesale price and then that's it? Or is it like you get a commission off anything or anything along those lines? Is it based off performance?
Yeah, they have a couple different they have the wholesale route. We did it where it's, we gave them let's say a container of our products to work with, and then they would sell them however many they would sell, but the unfortunate part was whatever they didn't sell they would send back to us. So we've got a decent amount sending back to us, where that's why I need, just knowing from that old company I used to work for, I still to this day have somebody to go through all my returns, because I still want to get the bang for my buck. So everything that we did get back from the stores, we then threw on, eBay, or, I even sell on, Walmart and Facebook Marketplace, and just other things
Yeah.
like that, just to get, your used products out there.
Cool. Sweet.
Smart.
One
Very
thing that
smart.
one thing you brought up while we were talking about the quality control was the product differentiation. Whenever you change products, things along those lines, I think that's super important, especially when you're selling on Amazon in a competitive market. What's your process in terms of differentiating a product? How do you identify that? Is there any kind of like market testing that you're doing in order to validate that?
I definitely think in 2021, you have to do that nonetheless. I mean, obviously, we're all looking at our softwares and we're looking at products that are being pushed, but we need to figure out how to differentiate ourselves. So I like to go and I like to check out, however many people are on the first page doing well, or however many people on the first page, period. I really like to go in and dive into their negative reviews. All the things that people are not liking about the product, I then go jot it down, and I then, I have people in, overseas that go do my sourcing for me, but then they're out there telling the manufacturers, all right, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed, this needs to be changed. For one of my products, I'll tell you, I have this backpack cooler in one of my outdoor brands. This product does us 100 grand a month. It's a dope product. And one thing that the reason why we really took this product to storm was because I saw that everybody was saying how they had a backpack cooler, but it was all backpack cooler and they didn't have anywhere to put their dry stuff in. So if they went to the beach, they didn't have anywhere to put their towels or something like that because their stuff would get wet because it was all backpack cooler. So what I did is I created a half backpack, half cooler. The top section would have your dry stuff, and the bottom section would be just like your cooler. So I also put that into marketing on once we did our launch and got to the first page, I put the one picture of the full backpack, and then I put a little arrow on it with showing that it goes half and half. And then that just took off on our sales, and still to this day we're doing fantastic with that product. And it was all ultimately because I saw that people were wanting something that catered to both, and nobody was doing it yet.
Absolutely.
Damn. That's a big differentiation point. I love that. I love that. Are you using like questions as well? I find that very useful. Like questions that are asked on listings. People are saying like, a lot of the times when you're looking at reviews and questions, in my opinion, you find those recurring trends. So, from your experience, you mentioned you guys use a team out in China who does your sourcing for you. Where do you find these sourcing agents? And do you find it from your experience challenging to get products differentiated in terms of like the actual production cost? Are you having to pay hefty fees for molds? And has that ever been a problem for you?
So sometimes a mold is an issue, but I haven't found out that it's such an issue. I tell all my clients that if a manufacturer will not customize your item, don't work with them, because I kind of feel like if they won't customize your item, you're most likely working with a reseller. And I don't want to work with a reseller because you're never going to get the best prices with the reseller, because they're ultimately going to be going to the manufacturer and upselling the product. So that's kind of a big thing where I tell my clients, and for myself, just, if they say no, if they can't do customization, then scratch it. I would move on to the next person. Again, it's a building relationship. I've had the reason why I found the people that go out and look for my products is actually from my manufacturers coming to my warehouse and visiting me. And then they'll bring people to like kind of interpretate, because, they speak a different language. And I've actually used their interpreters to go and look for my other products as well.
Wow. I like that process.
Do you guys sell any electronics now? I will tell you this, working for that other company, obviously, Christmas, you usually double your sales. One thing that scared me about working for them, that's why I'll never sell electronics, is it would literally take us, so after we did all of our Christmas returns, it would take us till the next Christmas to go through every one of their electronics, because that's what we had to do on every return. So it would literally take a year to go through it all, and that's why I stay away from them.
Full-time job doing that.
Yeah, we've never tapped into it for that exact reason. We know that China they're not known, or certain the big manufacturers, things that supply Samsung, things along those lines, obviously have great quality control processes. But even from a third-party inspector standpoint, I feel like not a lot of people will do inspections from an electronical standpoint, and it's hard to gauge a lot of things unless you're like very technically sound for electronics. So we never dabbled into that.
And a lot of the negative reviews that the old company I worked for would get would not necessarily be product error, but also user error. So a lot of people just wouldn't be clinically defined and know how to use a charging case and things like that. So they'd return it and get a bad review for it, and it would ultimately cost them $100 to change it.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. User error, and like, especially if they don't know how to use it and you're not clearly able to display that. And then it's hard to do that through an e-commerce channel. I can imagine that that would be massive. And that is, external factor that you really can't control. If someone's incapable of using it, they're incapable of using it. It's as simple as that. I'd like to dive into product launches. First thing, what are you currently doing current state in order to launch your products? Is that through rebates, external traffic? Is it through PPC? And just out of curiosity, what was that 8-figure brand doing back in the day? Was it different from what it is now?
So they were kind of doing, utilizing their reviews into a launch perspective. So they would do their rebates, but they would be very keen on, they'd have a customer service call their rebate people, make sure that they do the search, find, buy, and then they would then rebate them. So they would have a group of people that would call for, like, let's say, I don't know, a list of 50 people for one keyword. They'd make sure they'd have the search, find, buy method for those 50, and they'd have another customer service group do another keyword for another 50 people, and they would do it on the phone, like, all right, go type in this, you'll find me on this page, buy it, send us the thing, and we'll rebate you after. So they utilized a lot of just phone calls with both product reviews and their launch strategies. And then they'd also keep a database for anybody that would help them launch in the future or launch in the past. They'd use them for the future, but now that doesn't really work. So you can't, that I don't know if you guys know, but now you can't really have the same people doing your rebates and things like that. So that would work back then, but it doesn't work now. But yeah, right now I still utilize the whole search, find, buy. I actually have my own email list with about 10,000 people. So I do my own launches through my own email list. And then I give a certain amount of people who are actually, really on it back and forth. I put them over to a Skype channel, and then I have a VA that, gives them directions, search it, what page, buy it, send me the thing. I will, obviously rebate them. And yeah, that's how I do. I just have a really big email list that I use for my launches.
Wow.
Damn. Talk about cost effectiveness. Now, in regards to those email lists, what are you doing to collect those emails? Is it just on your insert cards? Because obviously we don't get emails these days on Amazon. So yeah, like the ability to retain customers. How do you guys go about doing that?
Two ways. I would use them for Instagram ads. So I was doing a lot of Instagram ads for just getting them in my Shopify store. I would just, obviously, if you go on my page and you sign up for my email list, then you get 50% off our products, whatever. I would do that. And then I'd also say, you can get it running for free products. But also, I would still utilize the way that I get reviews and do that way as well.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Cool. That's intense. I like that.
I love the fact that you're putting people into Skype. It makes it more personable. One thing that we face, so to put things in perspective, when we've done rebates, we've done it through Seller Tools and ManyChat, or through a new software called Elite Sellers, which they offer funnels, and it's automated, which is super nice. But like you were saying, getting those reviews or those rebates to the same person decreases buyer quality score on their Amazon profiles. Those reviews that they potentially leave don't stick, things along those lines. So I'm curious on how you potentially filter that email list. Do you just blast it out to 10,000 people, or are you filtering like, hey, which ones could potentially be good?
Yeah, so I filter it with who's actually getting back to me, and then I put that in a separate list, and I have a virtual assistant go through, and the people are actually back and forth that actually really want a free product and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
There's people that I actually put in a separate chat because they're the ones that if I give them a set of instructions, I know they're gonna complete it. People that get back to me in a few days or something like that, I don't necessarily work on all that well. But then once after, getting a launch perspective going, and I have a couple people or a decent amount of people out of a few months, I do this, 3 months before my launch. So I actually have some people that I know have been getting back to me repetitively. And then once I'm ready to launch, I'll hit up that group, and then that's when we'll get going.
I love that.
And I actually tell most of my students too. I tell them, if you're contacting manufacturers, whether it's on global sources or Alibaba, I don't even do business on those platforms. I say, people usually on those platforms get back to you in 24, 48 hours. I need constant communication with my manufacturer. So I tell them to do an initial hello, give them your Skype or WeChat information, and then take your business off of those platforms, because you definitely need to be talking to them throughout the day about any changes and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh,
Your camera there.
yeah, that's weird. My thing just disappeared. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So what it sounds like is you're essentially building out like a launch squad, which is powerful because we actually have an email list of about 7,000 people that honestly we don't really leverage too often. So that's definitely something I'll implement for sure for next product launches that we have.
Yeah, you should. Also, diversify channels. I got a client doing 35 grand a month right now on Etsy, and it's crazy because Etsy is very much a product based. You do your SEO and things like that, and you could not get any sales at all. She has a very DIY kind of product, which is huge on Etsy and things like that. But it was crazy because she wasn't that one product wasn't giving her much traction on Amazon. But we threw it on Etsy, and we did SEO. We didn't do any ads, and now she's doing 35 grand a month on that one product. And it was funny. She told me the other day her mom quit her job to start helping her on her Etsy business. And
Wow.
Damn.
yeah, also I sell in Walmart. I sell in Groupon, surprisingly. Any platform I can get my products on, the more eyes your products are on, the more sales you're gonna get.
And how
Damn, I love that.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into this more omni-channel approach. When it comes to fulfillment, Etsy, Groupon, I don't think they have fulfillment centers, so you're probably sending them out yourself, right?
Yeah, so either sending them out yourself, or you could actually have Amazon utilize, and you can utilize Amazon to ship those orders out as well.
Yeah.
Merchant fulfilled.
We create fulfillment orders through Amazon. Amazon's always going to give you the best shipping prices. So using Amazon in those spaces is a smart way to do it as well. I use Walmart as well, but Walmart, you have to kind of be having a proof of concept in order to be accepted. I know that.
Yep.
But yeah, we have a decent amount of sales go through Walmart, but there we ship out of our warehouse.
Sweet.
Cool.
I love to hear that. When it comes to Etsy, do you sell on Etsy yourself?
I personally do not. I have my one client who does, but I kind of know what product to look for that will be good on Etsy. So if I have a client that we're selling a product on Amazon that I think is going to do on there, I'll go over and help her create a listing, help her do her SEO on there, and keywords and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But sometimes products on there will just fly if it's an Etsy product. Etsy, I think, caters to a very specific demographic. And like I said, her product is very DIY and that whole boho theme, and those things just kill it on that platform.
Absolutely. Cool. That makes sense.
Do you think like home decor would do well on that? Because I know like Pinterest, for example, like home decor or home products as a whole, I don't think like Pinterest is a shop, or I think they're developing something along those lines. But I know like a lot of people run traffic to their Amazon listings from Pinterest specifically for those niches because they do really, really well. So
I do think the home decor could do great on there, because actually my client, one of her products is in the home decor, and that's what she's killing it on.
Cool.
Absolutely. And all those like do-it-yourself products, those are big on those. I recently started utilizing TikTok for influencers and launches.
Yep.
I know that's been going really well too. I don't even have a TikTok myself because I'll just get too involved in it. I mean, when someone sends me a video, I love to watch it, but I can't have too many, social media things, or I'll just freak out. So I do utilize it for my business, though. I mean, the traction and things on there is incredible. I mean, people are getting famous overnight on that platform. So I do product launches through there too, and I've actually been dabbling with not only doing rebate launches, but doing a lot of influencer launches. I remember the other day I got my client with this one influencer, and we didn't have to do such a strong giveaway because that one influencer had such good engagement that her sales skyrocketed, and then obviously your rank's going to skyrocket. So if you can get an influencer like that, it could almost be more beneficial not to do such a large giveaway, because ultimately giveaways can get pretty expensive at some point.
Yeah, totally. With when you're using influencers for launches, are you offering, some form of a discount code with them, or are they setting it up to their Amazon Associates account? Because I know a lot of influencers have those these days. Is there a certain approach that you take when working with influencers for launches?
So I generally love to do the whole profit share thing because it makes the influencer want to push your product more. So
Mm,
I've had in the past, I mean, also sometimes influencers get excited about the product you're going to sell. So I've had in the past that an influencer, instead of wanting to do a fixed fee or something like that, she just said, why don't we do profit share? And at first, I didn't even think that she was going to want to do that because, it makes them push the product a lot more. But I've gotten a couple people to agree to that, and it's which I love because instead of paying them, upfront fixed cost or something like that, they're pushing my product multiple times to try and get me as many sales as I want. And that's ultimately going to be the most effective and the best way to do it. But there's only a slim few of influencers that I've seen in the past that actually will agree to that.
mm,
I like that.
I love that. I love that a lot.
I actually have a client call in 10 minutes, guys. So if you guys don't mind, if we could wrap it up soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I pretty much just had one more question, and that was what it sounds like is, you're getting very diversified here. With diversification comes new knowledge. In regards to how you're obtaining new knowledge, do you have other mentors in your life? Are you just learning from forums, groups, things along those lines? Because we're the same. We're always trying to adapt. We're always hiring new mentors to learn new strategies so that we can not only learn ourselves, but also teach our students as well. So just to put things into perspective, what do you do in order to gain all this new knowledge? Because you're clearly on the right path, 2 7-figure brands, very diversified. I love hearing all that.
Yeah, so actually a lot of the Amazon meetups is actually where I've figured a lot of my stuff out. Since I'm in California, there's a lot of them in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of them in Las Vegas, and the big guys out there like Leron Hirschkorn and things like that. I mean, I've gotten dinner with him a few times in LA, and just on from Amazon meetups, and the amount of stuff that you learn from those guys is it's insane. So Amazon meetups are where it's at. People are just talking, having some drinks, and literally just sharing ideas and sharing how what's working for them. So I definitely am a huge believer in those meetups.
Networking. Love to hear that.
Wish I was in California, man. I know you guys have a lot out there. Same with Miami. There's not I mean, the Vancouver community is pretty robust, but it's nothing like we don't meet up or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Also,
if you guys ever find yourself in California, we'll definitely go out for some drinks and talk about it.
hell yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man, let's do it.
That sounds like a plan.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Yeah, no worries. Just to wrap things up, we always like to end with one question. Considering our audience is fairly young, look back at your young self. What kind of advice would you give that person if they wanted to get into entrepreneurship at a younger age? Because a lot of people don't think it's possible, and I know it's possible. Eric and I are walking examples of that. So just kind of looking back, what would you say?
It's definitely possible. Like I said, don't be scared to go work for a company and learn everything about them and just implement it yourself. Also, if you want to get into this business, I tell everybody one thing that I learned from my first product. You can't order enough samples. Pick your manufacturer and pick your sample. People on Amazon have no problem telling you your product shit. And, just really try and put out the best product that you can.
That's what it takes nowadays in 2021.
Absolutely.
Kyle, I appreciate the time here, man. That was a wicked. I learned a lot. I'm going to be adopting some of your strategies pretty much right after this call. I'm going to be going in. So you'll probably get some messages from me to get a little bit more information, but appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, Cal.
No worries. Take care.
Thanks, man.